Welcome everybody out to podcast number 435. We're going to talk today about work ethic. Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome everybody. I hope you're doing well. We're going to talk today about work ethic, and I really think that you're going to enjoy this. I don't think you're going to enjoy this podcast because I know it's been on all of our minds. We're dealing with a lot of this as a concept in our daily lives, how people show up at work and how well they do and what kind of ethic they have. And it's been on my mind as well. So we're going to have a really good time today. So first of all, I want to say thank you for being patient with me. I recorded a bunch of podcasts on my trip to Springfield, Illinois. And then when I got back, I actually got a little bit sick. I think I got a head cold. You really got some jet lag there. And so I appreciate you being patient with me. I'm going to do this podcast and one other podcast today so that I can get caught up and take care of everybody. And then next week's going to be a jamming week. So real quick, I won't be doing one on Thanksgiving. I am sure you didn't expect me to, but anyway, I just want to let you know. So I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving. I hope you all are. I hope you have something scheduled for your craft, maybe leaving a little bit early on Wednesday, maybe halfway through the day, having maybe some pies or a little barbecue or something else like that. But Thanksgiving can be a really fun time of year. So I hope you get the time off and that you're not having to work through it. I've had to work through Thanksgiving before and it wasn't fun. But anyway, so just wanted to let you know that. So here's a little bit of how I'm doing. Kevin Rice has been working with us at Elevate for creating better marketing and funnels. And I've realized that without adding any more work to our plate, we've been just losing out on thousands of dollars because really good connections for courses or things that are already going on are being missed because we didn't have the right funnels, right? So when we talk about funnels in business, that means wherever people become aware of us or our services, it has to be fairly frictionless to then go into a funnel and be able to choose what people will need and then actually be a paying customer, right? So for Elevate, if you find us on the podcast or on LinkedIn or somewhere like that, or you just hear us or you see us give a talk or a presentation or whatever the case may be, and then you go on the website, because it's my fault, I created that website, but because you go on the website and it doesn't funnel somebody, it's hard to find things, right? So you lose folks and then they don't get what they need, right? So we're working on making sure that our landing pages, our website, everything's structured to where there's a continuous flow and that we have everything on there leading somebody to what they need. So I really like that concept. We're working on that. Kevin's been amazing. The first thing we fixed was the TACT fundamentals landing page. Then we'll go on to superintendents and field engineers, then survey, and then everything else that we do, and then update the homepage so that somebody can go to the website and get what they need whenever they want for things that are already going on, right? That don't overburden anybody. So thought that was pretty neat. So that's how I'm doing. Really excited about that. Excited to have a little bit of time with the family here, or actually a lot of time at the end of the year here and just get caught up on everything from a content standpoint that we really want to get caught up on. So let's keep going on this podcast. Let's talk about fans and feedback. Here's one. Hi, Mr. Schroeder. My name is, and I won't tell you the name, but hi, my name is so-and-so, and I am a young engineer in Senegal, West Africa. I did my engineering studies in Malaysia, and I would like to let you know that I very much appreciate the content you are providing to us. I recently stumbled on your podcast as I was searching for lean construction podcasts on Spotify, and boy, do I love the work you and your mate Felipe Engineer are putting in. I have a new project coming in where I am probably going to be the PM or superintendent and would like to have some guidance as to how to implement lean principles, TACT, Scrum, in a relatively small project with not so educated workers. I really want to nail this one And I know that you can definitely guide me through this. Looking forward to hearing from you. Yours, and then he puts his name. So I am going to return and report and respond to this. One of the first things that I would do is we could start a one-on-one coaching program, or actually taking the Tact Fundamentals course. I really highly recommend that. It's absolutely a great course, and it covers a lot of those, or most of those concepts. The other thing I would say is Felipe Engineer's Construction Scrum book, or the Lean Builder, talking about the last planner system. These are really good suggestions. So I'm going to respond to him and make sure that he gets everything that he needs. But I thought that was pretty neat. I'm really glad that people are able to use this throughout the world. So that's first off. The second thing is I'm finding it a lot of fun to travel internationally. Now that's going to get old from a travel standpoint after a while, but I can say that I'm excited. There were some folks down in Mexico that offered to translate the Superintendent and Tact book into Spanish. We're working on a possible translation in Norwegian and in German. And I'm excited about that because there are people in other countries that are just doing fantastic work. I'm so proud of them and what they're doing. And I just think it's really neat to have like an international group of people that we can work with. So anyway, that's my 2 cents with that. And we'll keep going on our little podcast here. So there's a story in relation to this concept that I want to relate to you. So I was working in Southern California, and this was a stick-built job, and it was a $150 million retirement facility. So they had skilled nursing, the actual retirement facility, and then assisted living. And so a part of it, the hospital portion of it, the healthcare part of it, was actually an OSHPD project, very, very difficult. That's the project where the inspector came out and found out we were using the wrong type of screws, and we had to take out all of the wood framing. And then we actually had a vertical 4x4 tube steel column that was supporting a glue lamp beam, and we had supported it at 3 feet, the clips back to the masonry wall at 3 feet on center instead of 4 feet on center, and the plan said 4 feet on center, and so it was installed at 3 feet on center. The inspector said, rip it out. It's got to be exactly that way. So boy, do I know what it's like to work with those OSHPD inspectors. That was a crazy job. But anyway, I was asked to come recover the site work, especially out in the courtyard and the interiors, and really get it moving so that they could meet their substantial completion date. But I lived in Texas, and they were in Southern California, obviously. I flew there every week. And I remember the superintendent asking me, or telling me to stay over the weekend and stay for 2 weeks to get this pulled through the knothole for him. And I was grumpy about that. I was like, no, I need to head home and see the family, which was a righteous desire of my heart. So don't get me wrong on that. But this was a crucial time. And I was really butthurt about it. And the superintendent was sensing my negativity. He's like, you can't stay for 2 weeks to help me out with this after all he had done for me. And I reflected on it. And after being mad for a little bit, I realized that there's a time and a place for everything, right? We need to have really good work-life balance most of the time, but when it comes to finishing projects or erecting a tower crane or doing something that's really crucial on the project, we in construction have a work ethic that will keep us driving and grinding and working in that direction. I'll tell you, I once worked with a person at Elevate, and I won't tell you who it is, and you don't know who they are, but this person was helping us get some things figured out on the back end, right? And I could never really get a hold of this person. It was really difficult. The schedule was, start at 10, something like that. And for projects, it was like, yeah, this will take me 3 or 4 days. And, I've already worked my 40 and, I don't have any capacity. I'm heading out camping. And it's like, well, we have some deadlines for our clients that we have to get done. And, I remember just thinking to myself and telling Katie, our work ethic is just not aligned. Meaning this person isn't a fit at Elevate because at Elevate Construction, we work really hard and we have a really good work ethic. In construction, it's not uncommon for us to work 55 hours a week. It's not uncommon for us to stay around with the emergencies. It's not uncommon for us to grind and to really be get up early and take care of what needs to be taken care of and to take care of customers' needs and to fly there and to really just be passionate about what we're doing as a business. In construction, as a field engineer, I'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd work all night on a concrete pour. I would stay until the layout was done. I would get the lift drawings done. I would come in early on a non-pour day at 3:30 or 4 o'clock to get my lift drawings done. I would work Saturdays when I would need to. Construction just has this really kind of aggressive work ethic. So funny, tying that into a little funny YouTube video. If you ever want to see something funny, I think, here, let me see if I can YouTube it right now and see what the exact title of it was, but it's an interview with a millennial. So let me type it in, millennial interview, if you want to see something kind of funny. Okay, here it is. A millennial job interview. And I really think it's funny. So I watched this just last night. So the employer is like, okay, so I would expect you to do research for me, and it's a girl. Guys and girls can act the same way in our generation, but she's like, yeah, I'll just ask Siri. I'll just Google anything that we need for research. And he's like, oh, okay. We would start at 8 o'clock, and then there's this point where she says, what? I don't understand. And he says, yeah, come in at 8. And he says, what don't you understand? Well, usually I don't even get to Starbucks till 10 o'clock in the morning. And there's this funny exchange where he says, well, that's not going to work for me. And she says, are you firing me? And he's like, you don't even work here. I need to talk to somebody from HR. And he's like, but I haven't even hired you. And she says again, so are you firing me? And he's like, yeah, I'm firing you. And she's like, anyway, it's this really funny video. But I am finding that there is some truth to this, that people, there's this sense of entitlement from the younger generation where they don't want to put in the time when it's needed. They don't want to work the weekends when it's needed. They don't want to come in early when it's needed. They don't want to do the concrete placement when it's needed. And they don't have this work ethic of grind, do your employer like a really good job. So I have always said, even amidst all of my training that I do, in reference to, personal health, personal organization, balance and stability, being home with your family, all of those things, I've always said that it's easier for a person to get addicted to construction and then wean it back from there than to teach a person not addicted and not committed to then become a hard worker. And so we have to have this work ethic that where we're able to just drive and grind. And so I thank God, and I heard this from my grandfather-in-law. He said, if your parents, all right, so let me just tell you this. So when Katie first married me, we didn't have a lot in common. And her parents were really worried about whether or not I would fit in and be a good fit for her and for the family. And at the end of the day, her parents allowed her, I don't know how you would want to say it, but sanctioned or supported her in marrying me, because what they said was, if any out of everything, one of the things about Jason is he's going to work hard and he'll support the family, right? And so my grandfather-in-law once said, Jason, you should thank your dad every day, your dad and mom. I think he said dad, but he meant mom and dad. Every day on your knees that they taught you how to work hard. And I agree with that. There is no substitute for being able to work hard and have that as a drive and an ethic that you have that will keep you steadfast throughout your career and kick you off, especially in whatever career you're going to enter into, right? Doctors have to do it. Lawyers have to do it. People in construction have to do it. And people nowadays, they want something kind of for nothing. They don't want to have to put in the time. Well, the whole enjoy your job concept and the whole, hey, I want all these perks and the Starbucks 10 a.m. starts and stuff, like that happens like 20 years after you've put in your time. Like that doesn't happen right away. So we have to have that work ethic. So here's the principle. There are times in construction when we need to put in the hours. There are times when we have to do that. If you're, like I already said, when you're putting in a tower crane or you're supervising a critical scope, or maybe you're finishing a critical area, or there's an emergency. I remember getting a call saying the basement was flooded at midnight. I can't just say, hey, I can't make it. I'm off hours. No, like we're always on point. We're always on call. So there are times when we have to show up, and it has to be a part of our culture. It has to be a part of who we are. If I come to you and start doing personal coaching with you, it should be that I have to wean you down from working too many hours, not that I have to wean you up, meaning that you should be addicted to construction and working hard and accomplishing good things. And I should have to help reprogram your mind to get into a balance and to start to delegate more. If it's the reverse, I promise you're not working hard enough. It has to be a culture. And I will say that it starts with families. So if your mom or dad didn't teach you to work hard and they taught you to be entitled and they taught you the only way you can ever make it in life is by going to school, and that actually working with your hands was a bad thing, then may God have mercy on your soul, because you're already at a disadvantage. My parents, and I think they're in the baby boomer generation, thank God for them. They taught me, hey, you need to work. You get a job. You stay dedicated. You do this. There are certain things that just come inherent, and not all of them are good, but just let me tell you where I came from, right? So I come from the school of thought that was like, hey, your family, you follow where your job is, right? That was number one. Number two, whether the wife works or the husband works, you go with your spouse wherever they're going to work, because work is super important. The other concept was you take care of your immediate family and then your job. Right? So if you have these extracurricular extended family type things that are going on, and you need help from family, you might have to focus on work first. Meaning that if I had a number of deaths in the family, I would take care of my immediate family, my work, and then if I had time, I would take care of the funerals and the support and running the family business and all of these other things. But we have to have that proper order. My family, my work, then everything else. At church even, this is the school of thought that came from church. I'm taught God, family, work, and then church callings, and then myself, right? President Gordon B. Hinckley, the president of our church before he passed away, said that is the order, meaning I'm dedicated to God, to my immediate family, then to work, to my job, and then to church callings, and then to extracurricular things, and then to service organizations, and then to hobbies, and then to my personal time and everything else, in that order. And I just find that people don't make those same kinds of decisions nowadays. They put them out of balance. And most of the time for people, it's myself, my comfort, my Starbucks, and then my work, and then my family, and then God. And that's completely backwards. No matter what you believe in, that's completely backwards. And so what I'm asking people to do is understand that even though COVID has taught us that in a large measure, the United States will support people in a partially socialistic society, whether they work or not. That doesn't make it right. We have to have work and having a job and making sure that we're either in business or we're actually performing in our roles as a top priority. And we have to be delivering more value in our positions than what we get paid. Let me say that again. We have to be delivering more value in our positions than what we get paid. These are just basic fundamental principles. So I find that these just aren't like normal, commonly taught things. And so they're not all good, but I'll just give you a for instance. If one of my family members passed away and I had to be somewhere for work to support my family, I would be there for work. If my wife had an emergency and work had an emergency, I would choose my wife, because that's that's my priority. It goes family, then work, then everything else, right? If I wanted certain hours or to live in a certain spot, if I had a job to go and it would pay me to do that, great. But if not, I would move wherever I needed to, and I would do whatever I needed to have that really good job and to have that source of income, right? There are times when Katie has moved with me where she didn't want to, and I would have done the same thing with her if she was the one that was out working. For work, we have made decisions that in reference to how we structure our life so that we could make a living or start a business, right? We have taken kids on trips with us to make sure that we were taking care of our work commitments. I mean, we are just one of those families that are dedicated to hard work, dedicated to the grind, dedicated to being committed to delivering more value than what we're getting back in a paycheck. And so that's why I have a really hard time understanding where people's priorities are. It's almost like people feel like work is like they're entitled to it, like they deserve it, like it's a God-given right. Your employer is under no obligation to employ you. Your employer is under no obligation to promote you. Your employer is under no obligation to provide you all of those fancy benefits. Now, I hope that we all can have really enjoyable work environments. But when I talk about enjoyable work environments, I'm talking about respectful environments. I'm not talking about pinball and foosball and perks and snacks and comfy beanbags in the conference rooms. That's not what I'm talking about. Although, because I work with hardworking people, one day in our office we might have those things, but will be the outcome of people that are really, really working hard and doing a good job. So let me just recap. Having a really good work ethic has to be a part of you and your culture. Most of the time, it's going to come from your family. It is better for somebody to learn to work hard and to be addicted to work and wean them down versus the other way, which is you have to wean them up, and they're already enjoying their hedonistic, pleasures, the benefits that they wanted, right? From a family perspective, your spouse, whether you're male or female, your spouse has to be very understanding when it comes to work and construction. If your family is used to, or your spouse is used to being in a family where the husband or the wife worked 9 to 4 or 9 to 2 with benefits and never had to work much, they're not going to like being a spouse to somebody in construction. They're not part of the same culture. They're not cut from the same cloth. It has to be a family culture. It has to be like Katie and me, where she's like, and if you ask Katie, she would be like, yeah, my dad was in construction. I know the drill. We move where we need to go. We do what we need to do. We work weekends when we need to work weekends. And when we don't, we're here balanced and we're doing what we need to do, right? We're very focused on delivering that value. One other thing is you have to deliver more value than you return by way of paycheck. Most people are overselling what they're able to do nowadays and underperforming, and they're expecting a ton of money for it. And this has to stop. And for those of you out there who are changing jobs, promising that you can do things with employers that are paying any kind of money just to keep their doors open, one of these days that will catch up to you. I just want you to know that if you're not creating the capability to actually perform in your role and you're just hopping from company to company, that will catch up with you and you will regret that. And so what I'm asking everybody is to be focused. Don't be too distracted with personal items. Don't be too distracted with the personal comforts of life. Don't be too focused on asking for what you want and need before you provide the value that actually earns it, right? You have to 100% come to work and grind. Things shouldn't be these shouldn't even be certain discussions, right? I'll give you a couple of examples. One time I had a personal assistant, and he came to work and really ground down for the first couple of weeks, and I was like, wow, this is really helpful. And then he was watching football throughout the day. And I'm like, we don't watch football while we're working throughout the day. Like, we focus and we grind. Oh, I didn't know that. What do you mean you didn't know that? Did your parents not teach you that? Like, we don't do these things. Now, if you're grinding and you've got music playing, like, I love that. Great. Like, absolutely do that. I love using the internet, right? Use the internet. But for the love of God, don't be watching a football game while you're working, which is completely different than the times at BSRL when we would actually turn the game on in the background while everybody was working. Why did we turn the game on in the background while everybody was working? Because these were hardworking, addicted, grinding people that over-delivered in their positions, and then the team decided to reward that with a little bit of levity every now and then. The problem I'm talking about is when you ask for the levity before you earned it. And so there was another example where this person wanted to be able to do whatever she wanted to do throughout the day without permission, and then just work whenever they wanted to, midnight, afternoons, mornings, or whatever, and not be reachable by the team. And it's like, no, when we're at work, we're here focused, we're working together, and we have proximity with each other, right? These things are just basic common sense things, right? One person taking a lot of stationery and personal supplies home, and it's like, no, we don't do that. This is company property. We don't take this home. We're honest. We give an honest day's work. You don't own everything here in the office. If you want something like this, ask permission. And so what I'm attempting to get away from here is, like, why are we even having these questions? Like, why are we even having these conversations? Like, people should have been taught that this is the way you do business, that you go to work, and we expect you to be focused. So a couple of things. It has to be you have to have a good work ethic. You have to have been taught that by your parents. You have to grind and work down from there. You need to have a hard work, grinding, like, family culture, you and your spouse and your children. You have to have an understanding spouse, or your life will be hell in construction. When you're at work, you focus and you grind. You do not get distracted with personal items, and you do not mix work and personal life. If there's levity, it comes after you've earned it. And we have to make sure that we understand that normal people will get up early in the morning to work. We have to understand that people will need to come in for midnight placements. We have to understand that if I'm putting up a tower crane, I need your help over the weekend, and we get to work Saturday and Sunday. It's not always going to be the case. And then the other thing that we have to understand is that once you get addicted to that hard work, then I need you to also take care of your family. And when the times are good, you get home and you live a balanced life. Right? It is 100% possible. And so what Katie has always said to me is, when we're able to, we live a stable life. When we are not able to, and you're erecting that tower crane over the weekend, we're an understanding family. Right now, the current condition is people are confused about what I'm saying when I say work-life balance. You don't ask for that before you earned it. You earn it, and then you strive towards it. You start working hard, and then you work into a balance. That's the way this goes, right? So here are my questions. Are you running to your work or away from it? Are you earning what you get, or are you asking for what you want before you've earned it? And do you understand the culture of construction? I hope this podcast has helped. I know that most of the people listening to this podcast, it'll be like, I already got that, Jason, you just wasted my time. But is there somebody you could forward this to, or somebody that could hear this that will really help them out? Because I'm starting to find that a lot of what we're doing with the upcoming generation is raising them as human beings. Their parents didn't teach them this. It wasn't to focus. The only thing that they were taught is you have to go to college and you have to get the job of your dreams. Bad messages. Then the people that said to everybody that the only way to be successful is to go to college. Like, I hope everybody's starting to realize the fallacy of this stupid advice. I mean, come on, everybody. The most important thing, if somebody works hard, they can figure out how to be successful whether they went to college or not. Bottom line. And somebody that knows how to work hard is able to figure out anything else and go earn the levity and the benefits and all of the fun work environments and their passion. Somebody that works hard can do anything. I mean, think about it like this. Let's take it from a religious standpoint. If somebody gets taught any principle from any religion throughout the world, And let's assume that it's true. What is it going to benefit them if they're not going to put in the work? The first fundamental principle of the gospel, of religion, of faith, isn't just faith. It's you have to be able to work hard. And actually, I hope you're sitting down. If you remember before we talked about faith, the true definition of faith is to know something is possible, to want to, and then to work for it. So actually, within the definition of faith is that concept of working hard. Because if somebody isn't willing to work hard, they don't have faith because they're not going to do anything. It's just this hope or this blind, worthless, not going to do anything for you hope. You have to have rock solid, work hard, grind, get it done faith, right? And so everything is rooted on the principle of hard work. Everything that you'll accomplish, the desire of your heart, who you will become, the actions that you have, the position that you get, the person that you're going to marry, the kids that you're going to raise, the circumstances that you have, everything is going to come from that concept. And so I'm going to close this podcast out like this. If you are not addicted to working hard, then you have a problem. If you are not grinding and like programmed to grind, then you have a problem. If I would have to coach you into working harder and to be more disciplined and more focused, then you have a problem. I should have to coach you to slow down. I should have to coach you to get home more. I should have to coach you how to be organized and to get home on time with your families. And if not, then you have a problem. And so I invite you to learn the life-changing magic of being addicted to hard work, because it is the foundation of all success anywhere you go with any realm or sphere that you can think of. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.